In fact, 36 Leondale High School pupils in Johannesburg have been pulled before a disciplinary hearing for allegedly smoking dagga on school grounds. Concerns are growing about drug use in schools, with claims that marijuana is a danger because it is a gateway drug for harder substances. So let's unpack the story further. Michael Mayalo is the Deputy Chair of the Concerned Young People's Forum, and he joins us via our video link this morning. Michael, it's great to talk to you. As a start, I think that likely is the big question this morning. Is there a concern that marijuana does lead to harder substances? Michael, can you hear us?
No, you're not. I'm trying to. Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. So the question is, the question is marijuana a gateway drug, effectively?
First and foremost, I think what's especially important is to also acknowledge that marijuana has been one of the drugs in all the substance abuse drugs that is there and around. That has been the syndicate and a weapon that has to destroy young people in and around our society. That is not only at schools, but it has been largely the upper drug that has affected many of these young people. So marijuana is also it's a drug that it is a bit problematic to the nation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, what do studies show regarding teenagers smoking dagga in schools, in terms of where they access it, how often they might engage in this kind of behavior?
Look, it's about, when we speak about the marijuana drug as in use as in marijuana, it shows that around about 47% of young people who are at schools, they are involved in this drug habit. They are involved because it shows that it starts to as much as being starting from smoking hookah pipe, and it goes around to smoking your cigarettes, and it goes to a level of going to smoke this marijuana, and it goes as much in implicating, when it shows too much, it is affecting young people who are at school. It is affecting scholars much largely, because largely them, it is these young people that get a chance to perform this kind of use of drugs at schools. That's why when you provide a operation search in schools, you find that mostly of these young people that are at schools, you'll find that they are having drugs on them. It is them when they have their own free time at school, during break time, or they go to bunk classes, and they use this form of drugs. Largely, it is almost 50% of young people that are much involved into having this operating and also smoking drugs.
Yeah, that number is incredibly worrying. In terms of this story that's in the headlines now around Leondale High School, these 36 pupils who are now facing a disciplinary hearing for smoking marijuana, the video of them allegedly doing so, doing the rounds on social media. What should be the next action here from parents and from the school as well?
I think what we should, I think this is a matter as well of a blanket approach. What should happen is that we need to have an intensive program that communities are working largely with these schools, because our own community, they know these drug dealers, they know these people who are selling drugs in the street. They largely understand who they are. How can we then now, because remember, we need to go and find the supplier who's supplying this before we go and find the problem. These guys are the big guys in our communities. These guys that are selling and providing these drugs to these learners are guys that are found as big shots in our community, are guys with connections with police that they feel that they are untouchable. I think what can be done is that we need to have an intensive approach whereby schools are working largely with the community. We need to have an intensive approach that individually, because remember, if you're really a good parent and you're a parent that is always present for your child, you'll understand the changes in common behavior of your child, if your child is in drugs or not. Starting from weed, you'll understand that, no, there is something that is significantly wrong with my child because they have started to perform a different drug. So we need a very honest approach to say, yeah, not be afraid. Parents must come out. I have a problem. Don't be ashamed. Come out and go to relevant institution to say, I have a problem with my child. I need help before the substance and the addiction grows within the child. So the approach I would say is to say, we need an honest blanket approach from the community side and from the school side, whereby we embark on a program to say, how can you disembark drugs and substance abuse within this? How do we also increase the safety in schools? Because these learners are carrying these drugs in school. They don't have time. Some of them don't have time to smoke it at home. It is their free time to seduce their drug addiction at schools.
Michael Mayalo, let me thank you for your time this morning. He's the Deputy Chair of the Concerned Young People's Forum. Certainly a serious issue, drug abuse in many communities around our country. And so this issue with Leondale High School pupils certainly cannot be taken lightly.